Hi, as it's 31st of January, I thought I'd show you how to make a St Bride or St Brigid's cross from soft rush, which is particularly traditional to do in Ireland on the 31st of January or tomorrow, February the 1st. It's linked to St Brigid, also known as the Celtic goddess Brigid. She's a triple goddess, so she represents the maiden, mother and crone energies, deeply protective goddess and a fire goddess as well, so she blesses and protects us from fire. She's also linked to healing and poetry and also fertility as we're coming into the first signs of spring. So we might start to see the first lambs, and I saw some snowdrops first time today, which was lovely. A little bit of snowdrop folklore is that they're also known as Candlemas bells, snowpiercer, February fair maids, dingle dongle, which is my favourite. So snowdrops survive the cold, often piercing through the snow, and that brings cheer to our heart, and also known as to signify the passing of sorrow. And there's a nice little story where an angel turned a snowflake into a snowdrop as a sign for us for hope. So that's rather lovely. So first of all, we need to get some rush, some soft rush, and it's commonly found in wet boggy areas, wet woodland, in ditches, which is where I found some of this. And you can recognise it because it's bright green, and if you open up and split it with your thumb, inside there's a dry white pith, which actually used to be used and still can be used if dipped in and soaked in fat, as a candle wick in household lamps. So that was particularly popular, particularly after the war. And you can also recognise it from the little brown flowers that you find on the top, just there. So, to make a cross, you gather your rush and you keep one horizontal, and you take some more rush. There's various ways of doing this. It always seems the right way for me to start with a cross. It seems to balance the masculine and feminine energies there. And then with your other hand, you fold over the rush. It's easier, by the way, if you've picked it that day. This has got a bit dry. And you're basically going to fold over onto the cross on that side, holding it with your thumb so it doesn't slip. And I like to turn it anti-clockwise and then gather another piece and do the same again, squeezing it with your thumb, and you'll start to create little square shapes going around in the middle, anti-clockwise again, and you just repeat. You can do it however many times you like. I like to have 7 pieces of rush because 7 times 4 is 28, so that represents the month of February and the cycle of the moon as well. Anti-clockwise. Also, as you're turning it anti-clockwise, you might think about all the things that you want to release that no longer serve you, ready for the coming of the spring. So on the last one, turn it anti-clockwise, and the very bottom one you just pull out, because this is going to lock in the last one, and then you thread it through. So when you pull this one down, it locks into place. So it's a bit fiddly, but once it locks in, you've got it there. Pull it tight, because as it dries it will shrink. So you can see you've got the basic pattern in the middle, and then you can trim it off. And you can either tie them off with a rush, or I've got some natural string. So these would traditionally be placed above doorways or above the fire, and also given to newlyweds to put above their fire, and the groom would accept the gift as an honour to the divine feminine and his new wife, and give them good luck and prosperity, and for that reason they'd be put in cattle barns as well. And then these would be left for the year, and then after the year, traditionally they were thrown into the roof space, so when they were counted up you'd know how long or how old the house was. So you just trim that off. So it's nice and tidy. There we go, that's a basic one. Like I said, you can make them much bigger, but I like to use the 7. This also is the emblem for the Irish Nursing and Midwifery Board, because like I said, the goddess was linked to healing, and it was also traditional on the eve of Imbolc, which is the 1st of February, to light a new fire, and from the ashes lay it out outside the front door and leave a healing cloth or a cloth nearby, and the next day it would be checked to see if the goddess Brigid or St Brigid had walked over the ashes. There'd obviously be footprints, and then if that had happened, then the cloth that was left near the ashes would be used for good luck and healing, because she would have blessed the cloth for the year ahead. So yes, it was traditional to have a feast on Imbolc, and more recently you might be familiar with Groundhog Day. So there's some nice stories with that involving whether the sun is going to be out, some weather folklore. If the sun is shining on February 2nd, then we're to expect 6 more weeks of winter. If not, then spring is supposed to come sooner, and the American popularised that with the film Groundhog Day. As the groundhog comes out, if he sees his shadow, there's 6 more weeks of winter. So yeah, I'll read out this little Flower Fairies poem, which also helps you to identify where to find rush. Safe across the moorland, travellers may go. If they heed our warning, we're the ones who know. Let the footpath guide you, you'll be safely led. There is bog beside you, where you cannot tread. Mind's where you are going. If you turn aside, where you see us growing, trouble will betide. Keep to the path then. Hark to what we say, else into the quagmire you will surely stray. And if you want to connect deeper to the Celtic goddess, there's a nice little channeling that's to help you connect with her more. And she says, "On the embodiment of fiery devotion to the good people of the planet Earth. At one time I walked upon the earth, and my heart was broken in many ways by careless and thoughtless actions against myself, my people, and the land. The rest of my time I devoted to trying to understand human nature. I now have insight into the nature of the beast, if you will, of the human heart. I see that its frailty lies in indecision and worry. Cast therefore your cares onto me, and I shall carry them away." So you can ask her to warm your heart and mind with brightness, to burn away any thoughts, feelings, or behaviours that stand in the way of your divine potential, helping you to have the courage to be the very best that you can be. Happy Imbolc. Namaste.